Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Well, guys, there's some really interesting stuff going on here. Super interesting. How many of you guys have ever seen Stargate? Did you guys ever see Stargate and then all the Stargates that passed it came on after? Well, the first original Stargate was a pretty damn cool movie. And so we're looking right here at basically the pyramid in Stargate that at the conclusion of the movie, it's a spaceship. You know, it lifts up and goes to take off. And so there is a quote-unquote God inside this pyramid. And he's worshipped by the humans as a god, but it's a being. It's just a being. It's not the creator of the universe, albeit it is a more technologically advanced being than the humans it's ruling over in the movie. So, super cool movie, and we've been seeing Stargates, quote unquote, right? Mr. MBB333, who we all love and adore, right? He has done a lot of great videos over the years, and he's caught what appears to be a Stargate. Actually, you know, people have sent in pretty amazing photos of what he thinks is a Stargate, and he came out saying he thinks it looks like a Stargate to him. And, you know, pretty interesting stuff. Now, there's also been sightings of a giant pyramid, in case you haven't seen, over the Pentagon. And so if you guys can make it on, I'm going to give you links to all these different YouTubes so you could go ahead and pore over it. I don't have permission to play these, and you could get into a copyright violation and have issues with that to actually play them. But here you could see the pyramid's shape. So this was seen by more than one person. There's one video that came out initially, and more videos came out from different perspectives. This one right here has 3 different sources all showing the same thing. So, you know, obviously the first thing everybody would say is, well, you know, obviously that's Photoshop. It's just Photoshop. Even though the people seem pretty reliable, seem, you know, authentically curious and like, what's that? But when you have 3 different sources that are getting it from different angles, it's either a very elaborate hoax, or it's real, or perhaps it's something else. And we'll touch on that as well. So you can see the base of this thing here, which basically just stayed and kind of rotated over the Pentagon. And here's some photos. Just doing a Google search, you could see a bunch of photos of these things. And so, you know, you might think it's a TRB-3 until you see it rotate, and then you realize it's not just one of those big giant triangles, it's an actual pyramid. So pretty wild. There's numerous photos. You guys could check all that out. Very interesting stuff. And we got to wonder about, you know, ancient Egypt in the first place, you know, with everything we've seen, the gods visiting. You know, how could you watch like maybe 20 hours of Ancient Aliens and not come away thinking that there were ancient aliens? How could you not? Yeah, and when you look at the evidence all around the world, and even just passed down from different traditions, you know, the Dogon, they say, yeah, oh yeah, we come from the stars, we come from over there, you know, and it's not just the Dogon. It's not just the Dogon in Africa, Native American tribes, Central American tribes, the Australian Aboriginals. It's a global phenomenon that talks about these beings that came down and taught mankind. The Hopi are waiting for white Pahana, which, you know, many have equated to Jesus, you know, the great white, benevolent white brother, not the conquistadors that came and caused death, destruction, and misery to all the indigenous people, while looting, raping, and pillaging, and sending back all the gold eventually back to the Catholic Church. No, not those white Pahanas, because those are not the benevolent ones that came and actually taught us a lot of things. And I find it fascinating that when you look at these traditions, the beings that come from the stars, quote unquote, and came down and taught mankind, they're thought to be generally benevolent in all traditions, except for when we go to the Bible and the Book of Enoch. And of course, Genesis 6, gets you a little info about the Nephilim, and very, very little. It's just touched on, but then the Book of Enoch goes into tremendous detail. Yet it's from a perspective that these beings did teach humans things and cohabitated and mated with humans, but that they were basically fallen. And well, yeah, of course, anything from the heavens coming to earth is kind of falling or coming down, landing. And so we could look at it in that sense, but we have interpreted them as fallen angels in a very negative light, basically coming from the biblical perspective, the Judeo-Christian perspective, which also includes Islam and the jinn. And many people talk about the jinn as well. And so it is interesting. Now, there are negative entities that come out of other traditions as well. Like we have the Devas in the Hindu tradition, and the Devas were basically the good guys, and the Asuras are basically the bad guys. And you could view them as the Devas being benevolent ETs or interdimensionals, and the Asuras being very, very much what we would call a demon or a negative ET interdimensional. So it's interesting that every culture in the world has these stories. So kind of got to let you come to the conclusion that maybe somebody did come here from somewhere else, and whether that's an interdimensional drop or whether it's a visit from another 3D actual planet, galaxy, the jury is out on that still. But this is fascinating. So, the Express is obviously sensationalist, and a lot of people will say, oh, you're quoting the Express. That's like the Daily Sun, the Star. It's all BS. So automatically you discount it. But when you start to look at other sources, Nature magazine and many others that talk about these same things, then you realize, well, so they get some interesting stuff every now and then. Of course they sensationalize because they're selling papers, they're selling advertisements. So this is about that. This is the alien contact cover-up mysterious triangular aircraft spotted hovering above the Pentagon. And again, we see these pyramidal shapes on Mars. We see them everywhere. We're seeing these double fireballs. It's like two prongs that come together, and they're in like a fireball shape. And I swear to me, that's not a meteor. It's not two asteroids, coming on down, becoming meteors, just co-joined at the hip. It looks like a ship, it seems like a ship. And we have so many people that have said that, this is real. ETs are real. They've been in cahoots with the government. We hear about the Nazis with the ETs. How do you think they got the rockets? How did they have all that high tech ahead of everybody else? They were working with the ETs. And what's fascinating too about the Nazis is they were all about all sorts of powerful artifacts, such as the spear that basically stabbed the side of Christ, the spear of Longinus. And they were looking for that, the spear of destiny. They were looking for the Holy Grail. They're looking for all these different powerful artifacts because they truly believed they had power. And they were in contact with these ET or interdimensional beings, whatever they are. And, we could label them whatever we want, but the problem is when a label closes your mind, it sometimes will keep you from seeing the bigger picture. And so, just like when we talk about the indigenous people in Mesoamerica, when the conquistadors came, they had no concept of a ship like that. So they couldn't even see them, even when the ships were just off their coast. So kind of the same way, if we just have this one perception, such as, maybe it's all demons. Well, some of it could be demons for sure. Some of it could be something else as well. But when we just think there's only one thing, then we're really limiting our ability to perhaps see the bigger picture. And so this pyramid shape, as you see here in the Express, they're talking about it and showing it. So multiple people actually filmed this thing. And we also have at the same time frame all these, at the same time, all these articles coming out about the FRBs, fast radio bursts, which basically are something that there's no natural explanation for. So they don't know what causes these fast radio bursts, these FRBs. And this particular one right here, 180.814.J0422 plus 73. Very interesting that this one comes up. As we look over here, we got sciencenews.org. The other one was from Nature, talking about this. The second repeating fast radio burst has been tracked to a distant galaxy, and the astronomers don't know exactly what to make of it. And so they've discovered more than one. Actually, quite a few have been coming, although they're talking about this one particular one in particular. And so it's a fascinating thing, and it was repeating. And so again, it's called FRB 180814.J0422 plus 73. And in the space of 3 weeks, beginning in August 2018, it flared 6 times in repetition, as captured by the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment, CHIME radio telescope. Further bursts were detected in the following weeks. So in total, they detected 13 new bursts, including the repeating signals. So what makes this even cooler is that these were just test observations for the telescope. It wasn't even operating at full capacity. So fascinating stuff. And so why am I talking about all this, as we see Orbiter magazine talking about this as well, mysterious radio signals. I love the title here, FRB 180814 calling, repeating radio burst detected from a galaxy 1.5 billion light years away. And in our limited understanding, we think that's too far. Nobody could ever interact with us, unless perhaps there really are stargates, and unless perhaps they already made contact. So here's another video, and this is supposedly taken at the UN, and this is a speech given by Alia Prokofiev, and she is from Moscow, and she is a visionary in the field of space, founder of the international space platform Galactica. She is a rising star in so many ways, and I'll have links to all these so you can watch these in their entirety. So one of the things that comes out at first over here is this is the UN, and they say, please refrain from any questions during the speech, turn off all cameras, and recording is not allowed. And if this appears on the air, the prosecution is going to follow. So I'm just showing you that. But she gives a speech in which she says, ladies and gentlemen, we have had contact. And she just comes right out and says, contact has been made. And this is the contact that she's talking about. It's that FRB number that we have been talking about. And so she's basically saying, they're here. This is their contact. And so the thought is this is related to that pyramid. And again, I'll have all the links for you. And so I thought, well, maybe this is something where they were filming inside the UN, but maybe they just dubbed it, so we're not really hearing what she's actually saying. And so I was watching her lips closely, and she's saying the right words. What they're showing us her say is what she's saying, in my opinion, my humble opinion. No expert, but that's just my opinion. The other interesting thing is that this incessant ringing that I've been hearing in my ears, as so many of you guys have too. I think that you'll probably find that as we play this video, it increases. So it makes me wonder what's going on here as well. Is this part of the program? Is this part of the whole thing that's going on? And just so you could see that she is who she says she is, here's her LinkedIn. This is her. And this is her Facebook. And, you know, like her last post 5 hours ago, the structure of the atom bears incredible resemblance with the solar system structure. Turns out we all hide a universe inside of us. Very true. Many ancient cosmological schools, including the Vedas, prove this point. Moreover, the ancients have known this long before accurate microscopes appeared. They also knew that our bodies are mostly ruled by cosmic law. So, I mean, it's a great post, and I agree with what she's saying. Totally. And the ancient knowledge is the knowledge that shows us that we're not alone at all, and that everything is connected. And if you study the Vedas, if you really look into the Vedas, you'll see clearly the Vedas talk about there being hundreds, actually thousands, of humanoid beings in our galaxy alone. How did they know that? They knew the shape of the galaxy. They knew the span of the galaxy. I truly believe that the Vedas are leftover information from much more advanced societies, whether that's Atlantis and Lemuria, or direct knowledge coming from ETs or interdimensionals. I don't know. But there's so much in there that it's just, there's no way these quote-unquote ancient people that, you know, had limited knowledge knew this stuff, unless they knew it intuitively from going inside, which is another possibility, because that is one of the keys, is going inward with meditation. So obviously a lot of people are going to look at this and say, well, it's all Project Bluebeam. Completely. You know, they're going to do a fake second coming of Jesus up in the clouds, or fake alien invasion, UFOs and all. And so, you know, there are many that are going to think that's the case, and it could well be. I mean, maybe this is Project Bluebeam. Maybe this is a test run of Project Bluebeam. That very well could be. You know, I got to wonder about what's going on with the 5G, and, you know, in our incessant ringing in the ears. Is that part of this manifestation? Is the chemtrails in the sky also part of this manifestation for Project Bluebeam? Could very well be, but what would be the purpose if they cause mass panic and chaos? You know, because there's also that thought that they're not telling us the truth because they don't want to create mass chaos and panic. So which is it? And you know, what's really going on here? And the thing is, we have to all work together, piecing you know, all these puzzle pieces together to figure it out. Things are ramping up. Things are seriously ramping up. There's so much going on right now. We're coming to a head, and the major events are all going to be coming down very shortly. We're going to probably see them cascade one after another after another. You know, my friends, you're going to really have to hold on to your hats for the roller coaster ride that is about to start. I truly feel that is the case. So what are we seeing here? What is the bigger picture? And there are those that believe that World War III will not be allowed to happen because of intervention from off-planet forces. That these off-planet forces will not allow humanity to basically cause a nuclear oblivion that wipes out this beautiful planet that is being, you know, horribly devastated by the doings of the cabal that runs it. And I do believe that these people that run this planet, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, are under the influence of very, very dark forces that, in my opinion, are not human. I think they're not human, and we could label them whatever we want. You know, if you want to call them Dracos, reptilians, if you want to use the term interdimensional, multidimensional, negative beings, if you want to call them jinn or demons, that's up to you. Those are all just labels. Those are all just words and labels. And so, you know, the bigger point is that there are these negative beings that don't have humanity's best interest in mind, that are definitely influencing and controlling those that are controlling the world. And I do think that most of us agree on that point. Perhaps not all. Of course, we're never going to have everybody agreeing. But I do think most of us do agree on that point. And so let's throw labels and semantics aside, and let's just realize and try to put together, the pieces. We have to realize we need to work together. We need to get past labels. We need to see the bigger picture together, and we need to help each other in these times. So very fascinating stuff, my friends. Very, very fascinating. I look forward to your take on this, because we're close to something. Something huge is just around the corner. I think we all see and sense that. And I think it's more than one thing that's going to happen. And it's going to happen in such fast, I feel like it's going to happen boom, 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 that our heads are going to be spinning. It's just like that roller coaster ride. We're up at the very, very top. You could hear the last click. And now we're starting to go down. And when it starts, just hold on tight, my friends. So as always, like, share, subscribe, click the bell, get all the notifications, and let's figure this stuff out together. Stay safe, stay sane, God bless, and namaste.